Have you ever found yourself wondering how to make a delicious homemade pizza in just 5 minutes? Picture this: a piping hot, crispy crust pizza layered with tangy tomato sauce, loaded with fresh, juicy toppings, and smothered in melted, oozy cheese. Now, what if I told you that you could whip up this culinary masterpiece in your own kitchen in less time than it takes to order takeout? Intriguing, isn't it? Well, you're about to discover the easiest way to make a mouth-watering pizza at home in no time at all. First things first, it's time to gather your ingredients. To create this mouth-watering homemade pizza, we'll need a few key players. Starting with the pizza dough, a magical blend of yeast, flour, water, and a pinch of salt. This is the canvas for our edible masterpiece, and trust me, the yeast does wonders in creating that light, airy crust we all crave. Next up, the sauce. A rich, tangy tomato sauce, a touch of garlic, and a hint of fresh basil will give our pizza that classic Italian flavor. Then come the toppings. Salami provides a spicy, savory kick, while fresh tomatoes add a sweet, juicy contrast. Mushrooms with their earthy flavor bring a lovely depth to the mix. Last but not least, the cheese. Mozzarella, with its smooth, melt-in-your-mouth quality, is the perfect finish for our pizza, tying all the flavors together beautifully. Now that we have all our ingredients ready, it's time to get to the fun part, making the pizza. Now roll up your sleeves and let's dive into the process of pizza making. Our first step is the pizza dough. Start by sprinkling some flour onto a clean surface. Take your dough, which should have been resting for a while, and knead it gently on the floured surface. You're aiming for a nice, round shape, but don't worry if it's not perfect. The best pizzas have character. Next, let's talk sauce. Spread your homemade tomato sauce evenly across the surface of the dough, leaving a little border for the crust. Remember, a good pizza isn't about drowning the base in sauce, it's about balance. Now, the fun part, toppings. For a classic salami pizza, start by scattering slices of salami over the sauced dough. Next, add slices of fresh, juicy tomatoes and a generous handful of sliced mushrooms. But remember, this is your pizza, so feel free to get creative with your favorite ingredients. Finally, we can't forget the cheese. Sprinkle a generous layer of your preferred cheese. We're using a mix of mozzarella and cheddar for that extra flavor and meltiness. Be sure to spread it evenly, so every bite is a cheesy delight. Once you're happy with your pizza, give it a final once-over. Does it need a sprinkle of herbs? A drizzle of olive oil? This is your final chance to add those finishing touches. And just like that, in a few quick steps, your pizza is ready for the oven. Now it's time to turn that raw dough into a delicious pizza. Preheat your oven to its highest temperature, typically around 500 degrees Fahrenheit. This high heat is key to achieving that perfect crispy crust. While your oven is heating, place your pizza on a pizza stone or a baking sheet, depending on what you have on hand. Once your oven is preheated, it's time to cook the pizza. Slide it into the oven and let it bake for about 5 minutes. The exact time will depend on your oven and how thick your pizza is, so keep a close eye on it. You're looking for a golden brown crust and bubbling cheese. Remember, patience is a virtue. Don't open the oven door too often as it lets out the heat and can affect the cooking process. And just like that, your pizza is done. There you have it, a delicious homemade pizza hot out of the oven in just 5 minutes. Let's quickly recap the steps to making a delicious homemade pizza in 5 minutes. We started with the basics: flour, yeast, water, and a pinch of salt. That's all it took to whip up our pizza dough. Remember, the key here is simplicity. Next up, we moved on to our toppings. The mouth-watering amalgamation of salami, tomatoes, mushrooms, and cheese. Again, the beauty of this recipe lies in its flexibility. Feel free to get creative with your toppings. After spreading our toppings over the dough, we slid the pizza into a preheated oven. With high heat and a keen eye, our pizza was golden and bubbling in no time. Remember, this homemade pizza is not only quick and easy, but it's also a fun and delicious way to express your culinary creativity. So there you have it, a delicious homemade pizza in just 5 minutes. It's that simple. Now it's your turn to try. Happy cooking!